Any questions from anyone? Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. Female ordination. Yeah. Why initially the Buddha didn't want this female ordination? Okay, so this is a very interesting topic because this female ordination issue is a very either it's a hot topic in Theravada community or a very controversial topic in the Theravada community. How many of you ever encountered Theravada nuns? Theravada nuns, as in real nuns, ordained. They have the 300 over precepts. Not Sayalaya, real nuns. No, okay. Yeah, Theravada, not Mahayana. Yeah, Theravada. So you're heaven, okay. Alright. No, Sayalaya is Burmese tradition under Theravada. Okay, so what happened is, I will let you know what's going on, the difference. So for Sayalaya tradition, by right, for lay person we have 5 precept and 8 precept, correct? Okay, so this to become a monastic, there are 2 kinds of monastic. One is the Samanera monastic or seminary for ladies, seminary. So seminary or seminary have to observe 10 precepts. Basically, it's the same as 8 precept, but we have additional 1 more. Do not handle money. So that is the people who wear robes for seminary or seminera. And then there's a higher ordination, bhikkhu ordination or bhikshuni ordination. So this is a sudden jump from 10 precepts to 200 to 227 for men and 311 for women. Yeah, so that is the bhikshuni ordination for women, 311 precepts. So for Sayalaya, this is what I heard from Burmese tradition monks. They tell me is they only give 8 precepts to the ladies. And the Sayalaya community themselves, they will organize their own ceremony to become a Sayalaya. So for us, that means there's no seminary. So basically it's an 8 precept and then they become Sayalaya. Whereas a seminary, that means the one observing 10 precepts, have to be given by a nun, have to be given by a bhikshuni. So, Theravada tradition all the while for maybe don't know how many hundreds or thousands of years, there's no bhikshuni. Yeah, so the Sayalaya kind of community is like half in between. Yeah, it's like is a lay person without going through the official ceremony, but they want to live as like a monastic. Yeah, so that's Sayalaya. Okay, so now the issue is why the Theravada tradition don't have these nuns. Yeah, don't have these nuns. Do you think it's a sexist issue? How many of you find it's a sexist issue? Nobody, okay, so that means you are all well informed. Either you're well informed or you're not sure or whatever, right? Okay, so for any ordination to take place, let's say for monks, for male monks ordination, if one person want to ordain, let's say, I don't know, let's say one person, maybe, let's say Anthony wants to ordain, example. Let's say example. If you want to go through the novice ceremony, one person as a monk, I can conduct this novice Samanera ceremony. That means he observed the 10 precepts. Yeah, so this one can be done. But if you want to go for higher ordination, want to take a bhikkhu precept, want to become a bhikkhu, one person cannot give him the ordination. This one need at least 4 male sangha members, minimum. 4 male sangha. But usually they have more, they have like 10, 20, whatever, right? So they have, they want a certain quorum, minimum 4 people to conduct this ceremony. Yeah, so So that's according to the Vinaya rules, you need 4 persons. So what happens for nuns is about the same thing. You need a quorum. Let's say for higher ordination nuns, you need a quorum. I don't know what's the number, maybe 4 nuns to ordain 1 new nun. So that's the criteria. Huh? So according to history or whatever it is believed that the nuns order in Sri Lanka, the nuns order in Sri Lanka sort of got extinct. So the nuns or the missionary movement sort of spread by King Asoka sort of only sent nuns to Sri Lanka. I don't think they sent to other places, no, to Thailand or whatever, they never sent. They only sent to Sri Lanka. That's the only records they have. This King Asoka's daughter, this Venerable Sumita, I think so, yeah, that's the name. So she went to Sri Lanka with a group of nuns, and they had the nuns order in Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka have faced many this famine, wars and whatever not. So both monks and nuns order time to time like face extinction. Time to time face extinction. So for the nuns order, for the monks order, when it's about to face extinction, let's say there are 3 monks left. So if there are 3 monks left, they cannot conduct the ordination ceremony. You need 4 monks, right? So if that's the case, then the monks order will be gone. So they need to import foreign talent. They invite monks from Myanmar, invite monks from Thailand. So that's why now Sri Lanka have the Siam Nikaya from Siam, that means from the Thai tradition, or they have the other Burmese tradition, this Amurapura Nikaya or the Ramanya Nikaya from the Siam tradition, from the Burmese tradition. So now Sri Lanka have these Burmese traditions and the Thai tradition. So that's for Sri Lanka, for the monks. So but for the nuns, how? If the nuns were to face close extinction, they can't get any nuns from anywhere because the nuns order didn't set up in other countries. So this was believed to have happened. The nuns order became extinct in the Theravada tradition. Became extinct. So when the quorum is less than 4, then you cannot conduct any ordination ceremony. So there's no ordination ceremony for nuns in the Theravada tradition. So it was believed the nuns order was extinct for many centuries. Many centuries. And in the 1900s, then the Sri Lankan, a few people start to revive the nun order. Try to revive the nun order. So there was this lady, she's a doctorate, so she studied Buddhism, and she want to know the nuns order, did they go to do other kind of missionary work? Did they go travel other places to start up the nuns order? And interestingly, they found Korea. The nuns from Sri Lanka went to Korea. So she, with approval of some of the monks, then they decided to conduct this ceremony. They invited the so-called the Korean nuns over to conduct the ceremony. So they have the Mahayana kind of ordination ceremony first, then followed by the Theravada monks who come in and sort of like convert to Theravada. So the Sri Lankan started first. Then I think quite recently, I think Ajahn Brahm also started this, maybe about 1 or 2 decades ago, I'm not sure how long. So he also started this, and I think Malaysia also, we went to this Brahma Vihara. So the Malaysia also, which country was it? Is it in Malaysia? The one in Brahma Vihara for the nuns ordination? Oh, Indonesia. Okay, Indonesia. So they had the ordination in Indonesia. Right. So these things are starting to come up. So all the while, this is a Theravada problem. So for Mahayana, actually no issue because the nuns order are still there. The numbers are still strong all the while. The Chinese Mahayana Buddhism or the Taiwanese, the nuns order are still official and legal. Official and legal. So now the issue is the Theravada, because the majority of the Theravada conservative group will tell you, hey, how can convert? Hey, this is the Mahayana precept different, the Mahayana teaching different, so you convert, and a lot of this issue like technical legality. So now it's only this issue. So your earlier question is, initially, why did the Buddha resist? Yeah. So because when the Buddha was hesitant to start the nuns order, a lot of people in the modern times, when they want to talk about reviving the nuns order, they also use this, right? They use the Buddha's reason, hesitant to start the nuns order, and they believe it will be quite apocalyptic. I use a very exaggerated, apocalyptic. Yeah. Apocalyptic means like end of the world kind of scenario. Yeah, it's like a very big deal. Okay, so I let you understand the context first. The reason why people find it apocalyptic, because they found in, I forgot what's the name of the sutta, I think it's Gotami Sutta or something related to that. So this story is about this group of Sakyan ladies, Sakyan women. The Buddha is from the Sakyan clan, right? So the Sakyan women, a lot of them want to come and ordain. Do you know why they want to come and ordain? Do you know? Because before that, the Buddha went over and got all the men to ordain, or most of the men to ordain. So now the wife or the girlfriend, no partner. So they also want to ordain. Yeah. So when they came, so this Queen Pajapati. So that's the stepmother of the Buddha. Stepmother. So the biological mother, Queen Mahamaya Devi, already passed away long ago. It's like 1 week after the Buddha's birth, she passed away. So all the while he's been taken care of by this Queen Pajapati, Mahapajapati. That's a sister of the Queen Mahamaya Devi. Okay, so this Queen Pajapati came and request from the Buddha. Yeah, say, we have so many ladies, we want to ordain. So it's a very revolutionary thing, because at that time, all the other religion, or most of the religion at that time, there's no female clergy, female religious clergy at that time. So the Buddha was still thinking, I think better not. So he was hesitant. So 3 times this Queen Mahapajapati requested, and the Buddha rejected. Yeah, the Buddha rejected. And so Venerable Ananda went to look what's wrong. Yeah, so Venerable Ananda went to have a conversation with this Queen Mahapajapati, and she asked Venerable Ananda to plead to the Buddha on behalf of the rest of the women to get the ordination. Right. So the Venerable Ananda asked the Buddha, is it true that Venerable Ananda also plead twice. Yeah, plead twice. So I think before he went the 3rd time, or did he went the 3rd time? Okay, so afterwards he changed the subject, because the Buddha rejected also. Venerable Ananda plead to the Buddha, can let the female ordain. The Buddha said no. Then the reason being, the Buddha mentioned that the Buddha's dispensation will shorten. The Buddha's dispensation will shorten by like half. So a lot of people like to quote this. They don't take the full context of the story. Then they quote this. I cannot ordain women, if not, the Buddha's teaching will shorten by half. That means the religion, the lifespan of religion will shorten by half. That means the religion will extinct. That means the extinction of the religion is inevitable. That's why we have to wait for Maitreya Buddha or the future Buddha. So the Venerable Ananda asked Buddha, is it possible that women can gain enlightenment? Then Buddha said, yeah, can get enlightened. Then so slowly the Venerable Ananda convinced the Buddha. Then the Buddha thought about it. Okay, let the women ordain, but must need rules. Yeah, need rules. So the Buddha sort of set these 8 Garu Dhammas. That means 8 additional rules to protect the existing male monks. To protect the existing male monks. So do you know why the religion will shorten by half? Is because if there's no rules, if there's no protection rules, the monks who are not yet enlightened will still fall in love. Will still fall in love with the wife and the girlfriends. Will still fall in love with the wife and the girlfriend. And then very fast the Sangha will be finished, gone. So that's the problem. So you have to understand the context first. So it's not the ordination of women is the problem, it's because of if there's a lack of rules, then the monks and the nuns will have a lot of problems. So the Buddha came up with these rules and then he allowed the ordination. He allowed the ordination. So he managed to ordain the women. So there are a lot of rules, like you need to stay apart for whatever reason, cannot eat on the same table, cannot sit on the same bench, a lot of stuff. So a lot of these rules. So these are the rules invented along the way. So the nuns will have like 311 for the Theravada. So for the monastic rules for Theravada monks, we have 227. And Mahayana, they have 250. More than the Theravada monks. More than the Theravada monks. But the nuns also, they have 300 over. Okay, so this is the sort of origin story. Origin story. So even with all the rules set in place, there were nuns who still can get pregnant. Nuns get pregnant associating with the monks. So a lot of problem. So that's why we have more and more rules along the way. So we have these issues. So does that answer your question? That I'm not very sure. But one of them is, I remember is any monastic, any monk, no matter how junior they are, if they were to pass by a nun, the nun will have to pay respect. So the nun can be very senior, can ordain for 10, 20, 30 years, but a monk who ordain for one day only, they must bow down, must respect. So basically it's to create this something like a distance. They don't need to be too close. If they are too informal, then a lot of things can happen. So that's the rules, the precept. So the Buddha set all these extra rules.
Why do you need 4 monks?
It's a bit like American Idol. You need 4 judges. Okay, so you need one preceptor. You need one preceptor to preside the ordination ceremony. You need 2 investigating monks to facilitate, to question or interview or interrogate the candidate. Do you have any disease? Do you have any debt? Like that kind of stuff. So there's like whole list of questions to interview the candidate. And then once they find it okay, then they have to bring the candidate in, and then the preceptor will double check. Do you fulfill all the criteria? And once okay, then there's an additional helper, help to dress the monk and whatever not. So you need minimum 4 . So usually there are more, so more people easier to help. So that is the 4 is of course developed much later towards the end of the Buddha's career. When the Buddha was around, the Buddha just say, "Ehi bhikkhu, come monk." That's it. Don't have so many rituals. No chanting required. Don't have a lot of ceremonies. But as the Buddha the religion spread, India is so big. In order to ordain people, imagine the people from one part of India to travel all the way to see the Buddha to ordain, a bit troublesome. So the Buddha allowed the monks to conduct the ordination ceremony. So no matter how far they are, they can conduct the ceremony. So they have these rituals. Okay, anyone else? traditionally. So the Sri Lankans, they have this Dasa Sila Mita. So it's not even it's not a seminary, so it's a lay person who takes 8 precepts officially, but then they take additional 2 precepts to become 10 precepts. Yeah. If I'm not wrong, if she's a bhikshuni, then then she's not. If she ordained under the Ajahn Brahm side, yeah.
She's also under the forest practice, right?
Should be, yeah, because Ajahn Brahm is considered the forest tradition. Yeah.
Because I met her in Buddhist fellowship.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Then when she did the guided meditation on loving kindness, she said we all must smile.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, loving kindness cannot be so small.
Okay. Alright. Okay. Very good. Okay. Anyone else? Yeah.
班弟也想问一下我们南传的话，像我是南传的，我要想听师傅讲经啊，还是开示啊，是每一个师傅都可以嘞，还是只找一个？还是对。
你要找哪一位师傅都可以啊。
好像我去百年来很多师傅，
对咯。
我可以看到是哪一个师傅就可以了，对吗？不一定不一个这样吗？
没有一定的啊。
OK，Thank you。
Okay, anyone else? Okay.
Yeah, so finally can ask.
Okay.
So what motivates you to be a monastic?
What motivates me to be monastic? Okay, this is a very good question. Because in non-Buddhist countries, probably very rare to find young monastics. Yeah, usually people who want to ordain and become monastic, usually they're either middle age and above. Yeah, middle age and above. Because one of the criteria for ordination is you need parental approval. You need parental approval. Yeah? So the 2 questioning monks will question you, do you have parental approval? The preceptor will question, do you have parental approval? So this is very important, one of the criteria. So, how many of you, for example, would let your children ordain and become monastics? Oh, will. Surprise, huh? Okay. Normally we have this joke, the monks have a coffee table joke. We always say, if let's say the Buddhist devotee, they come to the temple, they hear somebody else get ordained, they say, wow, sanjai, sadhu, 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 huanxi, they rejoice. They sadhu, Then when turn around and ask them, you want to let your child ordain or not? 不行 cannot. Must 传宗接代 must help to pass down the family line. So that is the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. I think everywhere have this issue. I think even the Catholics also have this issue. Some based on some of their feedback. They have less young people want to ordain. Yeah, so this is the problem. So I think Buddhist countries also may be facing this problem. Yeah, because now if let's say the economy is getting better, or if let's say the world is getting more modernized or more materialistic, then less people want to ordain, or less ordination rate. In the Buddhist countries, it's a bit of like a social support system. If let's say certain families have too many children, they can send the children to the temple for free education, free food, free lodging, free education. So a lot of them ordain from young, from very young. Like children like 7 years old, they can, or 5 years old, they can ordain. So they start off from very, very young. So when I was in Thailand, after I became a monk, I even asked a short-term ordination monk. I happened to be like in the city, so I asked him, why you ordain? So they told me, the parents have promised them a car after they disrobe. They have to go through this ritual. They need to ordain. And after they disrobe, then the parents will reward them with something. Yeah, so that's like the culture. Yeah, that's the culture of them. And a lot of these parents also love their children to ordain for many reasons. One probably religious reason. They believe by offering the child to the religion is a very meritorious thing. Yeah, so that's one. Number two, could be for economic reasons. Yeah, to use to help them sustain the child. The next one could be prestige. Prestige. So normally countries where government have like a certain control, where the state and religion sort of mix, they will propagate certain, positions to certain religious clergy. So basically, some religious clergy will receive certain like allowance, from the government, and it's kind of prestigious for them, in a way. So they will propagate it in a way that it's a kind of propaganda to make it prestigious to become a religious clergy. So because of these few reasons, probably then they want to send a child to ordain. And also one more is because of the in Thailand, or maybe probably in Thailand, the forest tradition, they came up with a structure. For the child, if they ordain, they have to look after the senior monks. So there's like interesting things which the child won't do at home. Like you need to wash the feet of the senior monk, have to wash the robe, wash the bowl, clean the room, do all this kind of thing, being attendant for the senior monastics. Things which the children won't do to their parents, or some of the things they won't do to their parents. So after this whole stint or this short-term ordination, then they come back to their parents, then they do this to their parents. What do you think the parents will feel? Who will like it? And you like, right? Your child suddenly, wash your feet and stuff like that. You say, I feel like king and queen like that. So a lot of parents like it. So they send the child and become this short-term monkhood. Okay, so for our case, we don't really have all this kind of either propaganda or this kind of education for most people. So for my case, my parent, my mom, until now, she's more like a free thinker, more towards ancestor worship. Then my dad was probably started off with like free thinker, then initially became pro-Buddhist, and during my secondary school, then he became Buddhist. Yeah, so all the while at my early stages, early years, probably nursery or kindergarten, he was like following my mom to like the Kuan Yin temple. Then my mom's praying. Then he's going to the bookshelves and picking those free distribution Dharma books. So his home, the shelf is full of Dharma books. Full of Dharma books. So when I was in primary school, we have this thing called the free reading period. We are supposed to take our own storybook and just read maybe for half an hour, for example. And the teachers will just walk around and see whether you will read any storybook. So basically that's what we do. So at that time, I do not have storybook. No storybook. So no choice, I have to read Dharma book. So I went to my dad's shelf. Wow, no storybook, all the Dharma book. Okay, just pick one simple one. So all my classmates, my friends were reading normal children's storybooks. My classmate reading this Enid Blyton, and the other one reading Roald Dahl. Then I'm reading this book by this Venerable Dr. K. Sri Dhammananda. So I'm reading. So I have no idea what I'm reading. So start off with very simple, life story of the Buddha. Simple to understand for children. K. Sri Dhammananda is a pocket Dhamma book. So to me, last time I thought small book means simple. So I take small book. Wow, so cheap. So I have no idea most of the content. So I start off with, once I read the life story of the Buddha already, I have a very naive, very innocent thought as a child. Like being monk, very good. Maybe next time become a monk. So I start off from there. So maybe planted the seed there. So when I was at home, last time my family had this family gathering event. So we kind of watched this TV together every night. So last time the Chinese show was filming this Journey to the West. CUT, Journey to the West. Journey to the West. So my mom was like randomly asking a question, nothing to do with the show. She just randomly asked me, because just a family conversation. Asked me, hey, next time in future, what you want to do? What you want to become? Then just nice the CUT start, then the monk come out already. And I point to the monk, hey, next time become the monk. Then immediately say, no, cannot. Then you try say all the reason, hey, become monk no good lah. You cannot have entertainment, cannot get married, cannot do this, cannot do that. Then it's like, okay, yeah, I thought become monk supposed to do this. Then she's like, okay, no, you cannot become a monk. Then she's so paranoid until the following week she bring all her siblings and her mother, that means my maternal side, the relatives all come. Then one by one person, hey, don't become monk, no good. I'm still like a primary school kid. Okay, I don't become a monk. Okay. Give a standard answer, some simple to make them happy. Next time become policeman. Okay, make them happy. Next time become soldier. So something like this. So until when I was in secondary school or something, last time 1998, there was this economic crisis. So my dad was doing like business, some kind of trading business. Then his business almost went broke. Then a lot of incident, then kind of sparked certain quarrel between my parents. Then eventually they kind of divorced. Or during the process of divorce, it kind of affected my study, because every day they quarrel at home, quarrel. Then sometimes I need to choose sides, My dad said, you must follow me. Then my mother said, you must follow me. So they were like choosing who to have custody and kind of stuff. So it kind of affect my studies. So in class I was thinking who to follow, then my teacher talking, not paying attention. So the grades will drop. My performance, everything drop. So it kind of made me think, what is this happiness? What is this happiness? Because last time before that, I was sort of at least quite a high achiever. At least you can get top in school or top in class, kind of stuff. You can get a scholarship every year. So this thing happened, you cannot even get top in class. So my performance dropped and went average or slightly below average. Then it's like affect me very emotionally. And I was thinking, what is this happiness? Do you need to perform well to be happy? Do you need money to be happy? Do you need to find a girlfriend to be happy? You look at my parents' situation. So it's like, hey, something's weird. So somehow things led me back to the Dhamma books again. Then it kind of snowballed from there. So eventually my dad brought me to take refuge in the Tibetan tradition, 3 refuge and the 5 precepts. So I started off learning this Tibetan Buddhism. And those days the lamas don't speak English, so they need a translator. So the lama speaks something, then the translator speaks. So sometimes a lot of things lost in translation, or the talk very long, or very slow, whatever it is. So my dad, maybe impatient or whatnot, so he signed me up for this meditation class, a Sri Lankan tradition meditation class, which I was been following all the way already. So after this, then I kind of snowballed from there, then become a monk. Objections from parents. So my dad is quite okay all the while because he's Buddhist already. So he's kind of okay, quite chill. Become monk. no problem. So regarding the parental approval, right, is because after my parents got this divorce, then probably it's easier to ask parental approval after they get divorced. If not, they will force or insist, hey, you must get married. You must get married. But because they divorced, then okay, like you do. So my mom was quite reluctant actually. My mom is reluctant, so I have to persuade her. Since after my secondary school, I have to persuade her. Then she's like, no, cannot. Next time you grow older, then think, then that kind of stuff. So during my second year of national service, because for the guys in Singapore, we serve the national service for 2 years. So 2 years I was like in the military. So after the second year, you need to come up and then you need to do something, right? You need to work or something, right? Or you need to further education. So during my second year, I brought up the subject to my mom. Yeah, then she somehow agreed. She agreed. I asked her about this ordination. Then she agreed. I was so surprised. No, how come you suddenly agree? Eh? All the while I asked you, you said no, right? Then suddenly she agreed. Then I asked her, no, why you suddenly agree? And she said, oh, she went to this Taoist temple, look for this fortune teller. And I asked the fortune teller about my situation. Then the fortune teller said, okay, you must let your son go become a monk. Let your son go become monk. Then she agreed. Yeah, so I was like thinking, hey, I persuade you for so many years, you don't agree. Then this total stranger say, let me become a monk, then you agree. Then it's like, okay lah, a bit disappointed, but okay, I'm very happy, she agreed. Yeah, so that was the time both parents agreed, yeah. So right after my NS, I have to do my window shopping. My sort of to search which temple or which monastery to ordain. Have to look for different people for interview, or rather interview different monks and get their opinion and stuff like that. So I also approached Ajahn Brahm for his opinion. He told me his monastery full house, cannot bring in more people. Okay, he advised me to go to Asian countries. And there are a lot of monasteries that you can go look for there. Then who else? At that time when I met Ajahn Brahm, my mom was still not agreeable to my ordination. Yeah, so I asked him about this issue also. So he told me as long as the main family, the so-called the head of the family, as long as they approve, then it's okay. That was his short answer. I mean the summary of his answer. But he gave quite a long story. So with that, okay, so I thought it should be okay. But I play safe and still get my mom's approval. Yeah, so I went to look around different places. Then my meditation teacher from the meditation classes which I've been attending recommended me to follow Bante Mahinda, the Malaysian Bante Mahinda. Yeah? So his center there's one in the Alokarama, near Malacca, and one in Australia. So I went to the retreat at the Alokarama. They said, okay, you come with me to Australia. And okay, I followed him to Australia. And after some time, then probably his schedule is very busy. That time was busy doing missionary work. Then you have no time to train monks. So he offered me to, okay, I will send you to this certain institute, like a school in Sri Lanka. Then you ordain there, then you learn the basics from there. At that time, I didn't do my research well, so I was again very ignorant. So my perspective was, oh, he don't want to train me. At that time, I was thinking, I only want to learn from meditation monk. I don't want to learn the academic stuff. Yeah, I don't want to waste time on academic stuff. So I thought, okay, he doesn't want to train me. So I thought, okay, if that's the case, then I go back to Singapore. Now, whichever Theravada temple, if they accept me, then okay, I will ordain from there. Yeah, so after the Australia trip, I came back to Singapore, and then sort of a friend volunteers at Palelai temple. Yeah, so he asked me to come to Palelai to give a try. So I went to look for a Singaporean monk there. Then he encouraged me to, hey, you go to Santi Forest Monastery. Yeah, so that's how I got ordained. Yeah. Now it's in the Thai tradition. Yeah. Yeah, you have a question? No? Okay. I thought you have a question. Yeah. Thai what? I would say it's a lot of physical adjustment. Yeah, because at that time I just finished my national service, so it was easier to transit. Yeah. Because that time my camp was at this Sungai Gedong. Sungai Gedong is a swamp area. That is the place where nobody wants to go on to have their 2 years of NS. Yeah, so I was posted there. It's okay, like Monday to Friday is like in the jungle, like really in the jungle. Yeah, whereas all the other camps are pretty near to civilization. You see the doorstep, then you see cities and building already. The camp which I'm in, all jungle. The gate is all jungle. Then the road to take the bus to go out to the city is so far away. You need to walk out, all jungle. Yeah. Huh? No, weekends you can go home. Reservist. Yeah. So for the Singapore system, we have this thing called 10-year cycle of reservists. So basically, the 2 years as a young person is to train you to be like very fit. No, it's like schooling, to go to school and courses. So the 2 years, a lot of school courses, exercises, training, and whatever not. And the 10 years or the 10 years of cycle. After that is to recall for real action in case of any real war or whatever. Then within the how many years before you reach 40 years old, you're still activatable. They will activate you and then you need to report and then you do your whatever service, deployable stuff. So that's the real active part. So that's the time when most people start to work and have family and start to have big bellies already. Yeah, so they activate the non-fit people to go to war. Then all the fit people is just training and schooling. Yeah. So for becoming a monk, don't have to go for reservists. Yeah. So there's a clause. So before I finish the 2 years of this national service, we have to sign a certain form. So you need to read through certain terms and this condition. So part of this is mentioned. If you are full-time religious clergy, you don't have to do this reservists. Yeah. So I read that carefully, like, okay. Yeah. Okay.
During the process, would you actually came across like questions like who am I? What's the meaning of life?
Yeah, definitely. So all these are part of the spiritual journey. Why we get interested in religion or spirituality. So these are probably one of the few questions. Yeah.
For instance, that who am I? Right. Let's say I'm not speaking on like from the elements in our body.
Yeah.
But what is it? From the mind perspective, the who am I questions, how is Dharma perception on this? I mean, the meaning of it.
Okay.
Not the elements of like our body, but from the mind perspective.
Okay, from the mind perspective. Okay, so you need to repeat from the mind perspective. Then what?
The question of who am I?
Question of who am I.
Yes,
okay. Okay, so our mind will actually come up with a lot of thoughts. So this question will actually take a lot of time. I need to talk about dependent origination. So, okay, so we reserve to 7 p.m. This topic. Okay. Any other short questions? Okay, if not, then we go for our self-practice or break, then see you back again at 7. Okay, right, salute. So, pay respect to the Buddha. First bow. Second bow. Third bow.
Every time when we have done those offering or like dana or whatever, always there's this kind of the reverend wish that ayuwanu, sukambala.
Yeah.
Frankly, to say, I think this is maybe just a wishing or one that also should in his own capacity to do their own best of like cultivate good, avoid evil.
Yeah.
Because yesterday I just received a message. Our central temple, there is one very quite close devotees, age 61 only but passed away.
Oh, okay.
New.
Alright.
And he used to quite active in the temple, various activity.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so very good point. Yeah. So this Ayu Wano Sukhang Balang. So normally when I chant the dedication merit after the meal time or after the food offering, the monks will normally chant this. So they wish the devotees. Ayu means longevity. Yeah? Wano means beauty. Sukhang means happiness. Palang means strength. And these are the four things one should cultivate. People wish to have. People wish to have success, beauty, wealth, and stuff like that, right? So there are many different levels to look at it. So one way is when we talk about wealth, for example, people will be talking about physical wealth. The money that you can count and stuff like that. So that is one level of wealth. And then there's another kind of wealth, which is the inner kind of generosity, inner kind of openness, selflessness, less stinginess. So there is another level of wealth. So we have different levels. So when the person, let's say they practice generosity, they do dana, at the more mundane level, the mundane workings of karma, people will look for, okay, maybe next time I'll get rich, or maybe my next life I'll get rich. So that is maybe one way of looking at it. But the real spiritual direction we are aiming is actually how to be less selfish, less stingy. So that is the true inner wealth. So I remember there's another sutta, the one where the Buddha predicted this Maitreya Buddha at the lion's roar discourse or something like that. So the Buddha did mention they are the monk's version of the wealth, beauty, and stuff like that. So one of them has got to do with I think the beauty of the monk is the precepts. If you keep your precepts well, that is the beauty of the practitioner. So that is one. Then what is the longevity of a monk? Longevity of practitioner is if they enter this, enter concentration. Concentration. So if they enter concentration, they have these, four sublime states. Four sublime states. So that is their beauty. Longevity, beauty. So one is happiness. So happiness got to do with concentration. Concentration, and the strength is the realizations, stuff like that. So these are the more spiritual aspects of this, the beauty, strength, wealth, and stuff like that. So there are different interpretations. So I suppose depends on what you're aiming for. What you're aiming for. So now I give you a new meaning to these four. So like the friend of Brother Tan here. So of course we feel sorry about the passing away. So death is the timing of death is very uncertain. Timing of death is very uncertain. So even though one may do lots of good deeds in this lifetime, we are also not sure what kind of deeds we've done in the past that may catch up or ripen. So the whole idea is like in our meditation practice, we don't really aim so much for the stillness or whatever. That is more like the byproduct. We always emphasize on the cause. Always think the right thought, right thought, right thought. Keep planting the seed. Keep rowing the boat. Okay, any one wants to ask?
Bante, 我想一下，如果我去巴黎来等过午不食过后如果我看到Bante他们我要供养什么？什么食物比较多？除了那个几样东西，是哪一种食物是最好的供养给Bante？
如果在寺院呢，通常我们什么都接受。如果是早上食物的话，我们就叫 在家居士受尽他们的厨房咯，这样吗？
哦，没有过不是，很像你们已经吃饱了，你们
对了，对了，吃饱了。所以如果你供养食物的话，我们就没有吃咯，我们就叫这个在家居士来收了。
什么食物都可以啦，用的食物、食品、药都可以啦。
都可以。
OK，Thank you。
你最重要是不要带来煮的食物，你煮来了我们就很难收了啊。
没有很像注重那个东西啦，那一定要买这个买这个。
不用。
不用哈，OK，可以，谢谢。
随缘随缘。
Bante, just now you mentioned about right thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So, if we can constantly generate right thoughts, so which means that we can maintain the calmness in ourselves. Are you trying to trying to tell us that we can actually attain the calmness in ourselves?
Yeah, everyone can do it. That's why there's the Four Noble Truths. It's doable.
So at our last moment, we will also be very calm, right? If always have right thoughts, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Thank you, Bante.
All right. Anyone else? If not, I'll answer this Goh's question. So you're talking about the meaning of life? What is it?
Who am I from a mind perspective?
Okay. Why do we have this question? Who am I? Yeah, who am I? So we call this personality doubt view. Personality view or doubts pertaining to personality view. So we have this. As long as we have the sense of I, the sense of self, then many kinds of questions will form. Who am I? Am I inside the body? Am I outside the body? Is this I exist after death? Does it not exist after death? So on and so forth. So we have lots of doubts regarding to this I, this self. So we need to understand. In Buddhism, we have this thing called dependent origination. Or in fact, this is a common question. Don't have to talk about before Buddhism. This since mankind, the starting of mankind, people will ask this question, no? Who am I? No? Where will I go after that? Something like that, right? So these are the questions. Who never asked this kind of question? Everybody will sort of ask this question once in their entire life. So this is like important question which probably you won't learn in school. You won't learn in school, and probably our parents may not have the satisfactory answer to the question. So sometimes even you come to a religious place of worship, like right here, you may not get the answer you want also. So I'll try my best to answer. So in there's philosophers, so philosophers such like Descartes, I think it's from French, French philosopher, probably a few hundred years ago, he came up with this popular quote. The philosophers were thinking, the philosophy of existence. Why is there this self? Why does this I appear? So there's a popular quote from him. I think, therefore I am. Because of thinking, therefore the I exists. So that was his quote. But before this Descartes, the Buddha already discovered this long ago, 2,500 years ago. So the Buddha came up with a longer version. This one is called dependent origination. Because of our ignorance and because of thinking, because of mental formations. Then mental formations, then there's awareness, there's consciousness, you're aware. Aware through where? Aware through these your six sense doors. Your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Called the nama rupa. And then we have contact. We have contact. When we see something, hear something, smell thing, taste, and touch, right? We will develop feelings. Either we like what we see, we don't like what we see, we like what we hear, don't like what we hear, or we find it neutral, right? And because of this, so from the beginning process up to feelings, we call this reflex action. You cannot do anything about it. Basically, nothing much about it. You can't do much. So, the untrained person, the non-mindful person, will react with greed or hatred. Anything nice sound, nice smell, nice sight, then they react with greed. They want some more. Yes, they like. Wow, they like. Yes, they want. So they develop greed, or they react with greed. And if anything they do not like, they react with aversion, anger. So this is the starting cause of our existence and suffering. So once we have this reaction, it will produce clinging. It will result in addiction. We will get addicted. We'll be obsessed, possessed. Let's say, I don't know, because Singapore now, there's news of this Taylor Swift concert. So some people are crazy, so obsessed to buy the Taylor Swift ticket. Long queue, So some people purposely take leave just to queue up to buy this. So it's called a kind of addiction to your favorite contact. So, for example, let's say the person perceived Taylor Swift. Okay, then they are obsessed. They have greed. They want to buy the ticket. They want to hear the concert. They want to see the concert. So they have this kind of clinging. They like this song so much, or they like this singer so much. So there is a kind of addiction. A kind of addiction. So this addiction forms becoming. You become that personality. You become this Taylor Swift fan. Taylor Swift fan. So you become that person. So it can be any scenario. So if let's say you are obsessed, if let's say a person obsessed with gambling, then they become a gambler. So we have addiction to this nice feeling of gambling, or wanting to win, or the thrill of gambling. Then they become a gambling addict. So that is the product. So there's becoming. So we call it a sensual becoming. And there's also a form and formless becoming. So if a person meditate and enter, let's say, concentration, wow, very still, very nice, very pleasant, then they want some more, right? Then we call this form and formless becoming. Form and formless becoming. So it's a kind of addiction, and you become part of that reality. So this happens very fast all the time. Let's say we think of our family members, then we become a family member. If your attention is right here now, then you are an audience. You are the Dhamma student, for example. So the personality change every time there's a new contact. So the sense of I, or this becoming, derives from this reaction to the sense stimuli, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And then once you perceive already, then depends on how you react, then you become that personality, you become that self. Maybe a person, I want to be let's say they have a goal, I want to be a rich businessman, or I want to be a superstar, or I want to be a fighter pilot, whatever it is, you want to become something, right? It is, there's a one thing, there's a craving there, and this craving, and then you form this, a nice, maybe a kind of, it may be a dream or whatever it is of ideal state of that job or that state or that success or whatever it is, and then there's an addiction, there's a nice feeling, there's a nice fantasy of that particular role, right? So that is, we call this craving leading to clinging to becoming. You become the person. So once you become that personality, or you become a fan or a dreamer of that personality, then you face the ups and downs of this scenario, the birth, aging, sickness, and death of that personality. So if let's say I'm a gambling addict, example, I become a gambling addict. So a gambling addict will face the sufferings of a gambling addict. You not enough money, or they want to gamble some more, and they spend less time with the family. So all this, right? Birth, aging, sickness, and death. So they face the dukkha, the suffering of this gambling addict. So if they change to another personality, then again another set of birth, aging, sickness, and death for that personality. So we call this the moment-to-moment dependent origination. Moment-to-moment dependent origination. So it happened very fast. So that's why when we were young, we have certain ideals. I want to become something. I want to be whatever. Then when we grow older, our ideals will change. Because different condition change, you have different ideas. Then the way you react will be different. Then different thrills. That's why you have different addiction and different personality. Different opinions. So that's how fickle or how impermanent is this our perceptions. How impermanent are these our feelings. So to know who are we, because this sense of I is so strong, right? If a person never cultivate impermanence, they never reduce this ego and clinging, they have no benchmark. So a non-cultivator will have the ego more or less like the same, like quite constant to them. So they believe the self is real, the I is real, I am real. The self is not real. But the more we meditate, the more we cultivate, the ego, it can change one, it can disappear one. So how does it arise? From what kind of thinking causes this ego to arise? And hopefully, the more we train, then this ego or this self will reduce and disappear. So once it disappears, then we'll have a new perspective. We'll be chasing something more not so impermanent. Because right now this personality is impermanent depending on our addiction. Depending on addiction, then this personality will be different. So it is very fickle. So once we overcome this delusional self, then whatever we're chasing will be more substantial.
Does it also mean every occupation is kind of delusion?
If let's say there's a lot of fantasy about certain occupation, then yes. But if let's say it's about a need or the intention of it is altruistic, then I think nothing wrong. Somebody will need to have a different occupation. You cannot have everybody the same occupation.
Indirectly attach yourself to the occupation identity.
If let's say the person is not mindful, they are with that particular occupation for a long time, then they associate, for example, I am a monk. I am a monk. So because I'm monk for quite maybe some time already, then the monkhood is associated with my identity already, So whenever a person, let's say they curse and swear a monk, any monk, I will get affected also. I will feel, why you curse and swear the monk for what? So nobody curse me, but then I get upset. Or somebody curse and swear Chinese race, then you get offended. Or they curse Malaysian like that, or Singaporean like that. So we call this attached to certain personality and identity. Even though it's not real, it's not you even. Not real. So that's how we call this. How the sense of self gets pulled into things. The delusional sense of self gets pulled in. First is a fake self, and then we pull into a fake scenario.
It's very relatable. So in that sense, what is the right path to becoming the real?
Always mindful of impermanence. The most simplest solution. The most simplified answer. Always mindful of impermanence. So basically, this so-called chain of this dependent origination is to understand how suffering arises or how this personality arises. And then there's another one which talks about if a person do not react with greed or hatred, then all these things will subside. So the shorter version is the Four Noble Truths. shorter version, the Four Noble Truths, to make things simple. As long as you do not have unwholesome craving, or you try your best to reduce this unwholesome craving, overcome this unwholesome craving, then you're on the path to overcome this ego. Yeah.
So does it mean we can still cling to the becoming identity, but without unwholesome values?
A person can have a wholesome thought without wisdom, for example. Wholesome thought without thinking of impermanence. Yeah, then they'll form personality. For example, like a patriotic personality or heroic personality. Yeah, they will get attached to it, although it's wholesome. So yeah, that is one example.
Because usually, I mean, we choose to becoming who we are, influenced by the things we see, our parents, our friends, or things like that. So that's the typical way of we clinging to certain identity. If it's not from this way of becoming, what is the right way of becoming?
Yeah, because all our habits are picked up from somewhere. Have to be picked up from somewhere. We are not like inventing new things, So a lot of things we learn from parents, we learn from school, learn from TV, learn from anything, right? From the internet, whatever, right? So a lot of habits, a lot of things you want to try out or you want to experiment, and you want to form certain new catchphrase or whatever it is, right? So it's all about learning from somewhere. Yeah, so we sort of pick up different personalities and we try to imitate even. Yeah, imitate. So people like to imitate, and so initially there might be some clinging. I think it's quite normal. This is part of samsara. But at the meantime, we try to practice also think a right thought all the time. So even though these habits are there, they don't affect our happiness.
But my question is, assuming you're given a choice to choose your path again.
Okay.
So instead of the conventional way of being influenced, being from the typical media or things like that.
Okay.
What is the right way of becoming, besides being influenced with such a...
Right way of becoming. So that's why we always talk about associating with wholesome people, wholesome company, wise people, wholesome company. I think we read one of these Mangala Sutta. Avoid unwholesome influence. Very important. So that's the first step of any spiritual practice, to avoid unwholesome company. Because, for example, once you mix around with gamblers or drinkers, and that's it, you become part of them. So we avoid unwholesome company and mix around with wholesome company. Yeah. So again, depends on your intention. If let's say our intention is to, for example, for kids, if they want to be, they want to score well, then they mix around with the studious people, studious clique, and the academic clique, right? And vice versa. Likewise, if you want to be more wise, then you come to this religious place, like. Yeah.
But the resulting becoming can be positive. For example, like you mentioned, you want to score A, so you mix with A students.
Yeah,
example.
correct. Yeah.
But you are clinging to that identity of, you force yourself to be an A student, right? Okay. So it's still not a very wholesome.
Okay. Yeah. So like this kind of goal setting, or a person wish to be a top student or top performer or in work or whatever it is, that is one thing. And the next one is got to do with our intention. What kind of thoughts do we have when we have this goal, or when we want to mix around with certain people? What's our intention? If the intention is wholesome, is for the benefit of everybody, or you want to help more people, I think it's okay. But if let's say the intention is very selfish, is if let's say we meditate, we should be able to be more sensitive. If let's say we feel any kind of tension, any greed or hatred, then we need to reassess lah.
So eventually it backs to selfless intention.
We call it right intention, right reflection. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, one at the back. Yeah, chasing after something more lasting. Yeah, so yeah, Nibbana is like one example. Yeah. Yep. Okay, anyone else?
Bante, how do we overcome ego?
Overcome ego, yeah, it's exactly the same answer as this gentleman here. Yeah, always practice right thought, practice the Eightfold Path, right thought, right effort, right everything, yeah, every moment.
Bante, question on the practice.
Yep.
The 4 Brahma Viharas, so we practice the metta and then we switch to the
Karuna,
no.
the Samatha and Vipassana.
Yeah, the thinking of impermanence.
Okay.
Then after some time we go on to the next Brahma Vihara. Then after this mudita, so upeka we are considering the result of karma. Then do we also do the impermanence?
Yes, we do also. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anyone else?
Bante，如果我在家里打坐哦，禅修啊，但我的孩子哦，我要教他禅修哦，他不可以 control 的，怎么样教他？
哦，禅修啊，禅修不可以逼孩子做了，不可以逼孩子做了啊。
哎呦，我的老公每次叫他去打坐，在比较面前坐在那边打坐，对，我跟有时候我帮他讲话，老公讲你不可以帮他讲话。
哦。小孩子可能不适合啦。如果他不是那种喜欢静静啊，
他是个很好动的啦。
好动的就不适合。
记得有一年巴黎拉有那个短期出家，then 你 actually 你在隔壁啊，有一个班爹跟他剪头剃头，等他回到家的时候哦，下很大的雨，我在睡觉，但他走来跟我讲，他哭哭得很大声，我说你哭什么？妈咪。我过几年哦，我就在巴黎来住了，我不会在这边住了。以后，我说你在讲什么？
OK，
还讲说因为我是和尚了，我不可以住这里。是什么意思啊？
不用太担心哦。
我不用担心，我觉得 OK。
OK。
因为给他定他的心。
OK， 通常。小孩子啊，就是要训练教那些 virtues 怎样孝顺啊，怎么样有这个这个慈悲心啦，怎么样帮人家啦。
我每天就跟他讲，你去学校就是帮助老师，你不要 disturb 老师，你听老师的话就是帮助老师。我每天跟他讲这句话了，我们跟他讲拜拜的时候就会讲这句话。
OK。一个一个慢慢来了哦，不需要去逼孩子禅修。以前我去 volunteer 一个 Sunday school 我在家人的时候去帮这个光明山这个北川的这个寺院
那边很大，有100多个、200个小孩子。
对，所以我帮了可能有2-3年了所以那时候我是做那个 volunteer teacher 啦。就教那个教 primary 5跟 primary 6的11、12岁了，差不多这样11、12岁。所以他们呢就是通常呢就是父母亲把这个 Sunday School 当作是childcare center还是托儿所
我去过一次哎，我最近我去过一次，他讲他喜欢，
OK，
我不懂哎。
OK，所以那个寺院呢就想出一个办法，就是他们不要父母亲这样子做，把这个寺院呢当做是 childcare center 这样把孩子放在那边，让他们自己去 shopping 还是什么啦不是这样子哦，就是父母亲也是要上佛学班哦。
对，他带我去参加他们的半个小时吧，念经的，也是那么大声。
对，因为不可能好像在那个佛学班的时候那个小学生我们教他们，不可以喝酒回来家长父母亲喝酒不可以所以我们要 synchronize 要 synchronize 就是我们的教的东西家里也是差不多要教一样了不然会有这个 conflict
然后还有个东西，我去买4D，我还在讲妈咪有 break 的5%，对吗？
最重要是不要去赌博了
哦对，他讲妈咪 we are break the 5% because you go and buy 4D。
4D 没有破到这个5戒啦，可是尽量不要去赌博啦。佛陀有教，尽量不要去赌博OK， 然通常这个我们还没有讲完这个佛学班通常因为这些小孩子从星期一到星期五，有时到星期六要去上学了所以他们又要上这个佛学班哇，整天在课室，他们不喜欢的他们要有自己孩子的活动自由活动他们要一些时间去玩乐等等所以如果整天好像要教他们东西，他们就他们闲他们通常毕业过后不会回来的，不会做。
孩子讲他希望那个光明山带他去看骨灰塔，他讲为什么有骨灰塔，他要明白这个东西。他讲说他要知道为什么有这样的东西，然后他想要去那个，他跟我讲他要希望光明山带他去那个烧尸体的地方，他要知道是什么样，为什么还要知道这个
可能是他们的老师要教他们什么是生老病死咯这样咯OK 所以那些学生如果一直被逼的话，他们不会回来寺院那喜欢就 OK 咯OK 所以好像如果你要教他佛法，不可以逼的，不会逼他禅修啦这些OK 好 OK Any other question Yeah Yeah Okay very good question Yeah
If we are not the I, so who are we?
Okay. Yeah. So this is a question that in our daily conversational usage, our conventional use, we have to use I, you, me, all this kind of thing, right? If let's say you go to work, you need to fill an application form. What's your name? There's no I. Then you cannot get a job. Then you cannot get a job. Then a lot of problems. So conventionally, you are who you are. So we need to identify. But the untrained person, I am who. That time you're right. I am so and so. I am attached. There's a strong attachment. So we still can do conventional thing, but without attachment. So that's the training. So it's more of an inner transformation thing. It's not to change the external way we do things too much. Yeah. So that's the idea. So to know who are the real you or not, this one need to experience it. I cannot explain with words. It's more experiential thing. So after you practice more, then the perspective will change over time.
Is this similar to the duality anatta or something else in the Dhamma? There's no I.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. So that's in theory. That's in theory. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other question? So the Buddha actually gave an example about this overcoming of this I, this sense of I or self, or they talk about nibbana, something like that. So he talked about for people who do not experience it yet, it's like a fish and tortoise. Let's say they are in a pond, Yeah. So the metaphor for the person who has experienced this maybe non-self is like the tortoise able to crawl on the land surface and disappear from the pond for a while. Yeah. So the fish is like, where did the tortoise go? Yeah. So afterwards the tortoise come back to the pond and start swimming. And then the fish, hey, you appear back again. Where did you go? Where did you go earlier? So the tortoise tell the fish, I go to dry land. So the fish have no idea what's a dry land. And they ask the tortoise, can you swim on dry land? And the tortoise, no, we cannot swim on dry land. So the fish will keep on asking the tortoise questions pertaining to the pond, based on the fish perspective of his life experience about the dry land. So the tortoise said, no, cannot. Can you breathe with your gills on land? No, you can't. And so they try to explain. So likewise, if one person wants to experience the state beyond that ego or self, one needs to actualize it first. So it's an experiential thing. Experiential thing.
Can I say we are consciousness? We are energy consciousness? Because the moment that disappear, you sort of like the battery like totally down.
Yeah, that's the materialistic way of answering it. Yeah, materialistic way of answering it. Yeah, materialistic way. Yeah, if let's say it just ends there, and if you don't talk about maybe a rebirth or something, then yeah, so everything will break up and full stop. That's it. Yeah.
But it won't. I mean, if you have consciousness, energy basically you can destroy it, right? Then it will be rebirth or
something like that. Yeah, something like that.
I mean, just for understanding intellectually.
Yeah, intellectually. Yeah.
Thank you.
很开心来到这边，可是有时班弟讲的东西我听没有，可是我会把你讲的东西头脑里面，我就会transfer我的Chinese 去讲。好像刚才你们在讲我吗 ？actually 是没有我的，在佛教。我也听过一个法师讲，没有我，也是在巴黎来讲的，没有我的，我没有在心里。如果你在一直想我哈，你就很执着这样啊，是不是这样？
就是我们要最后来了解什么是无我
没有我的字的，是因为如果你全部都是我，全部都是我了，不可能的。
所以有一个慢慢的一步一步的方式来去了解这个无我。
我的孩子也以后也不是我的一样的，因为我有一天也会离开这个世界。
我们那个方式要想无常。
无常，对，
一切都是生灭无常，
没有长久的
不可以跟别人讲这个孩子不是我的，
是我的，
人家会牵走你的孩子
可是我知道，可是有一天，他也独立嘛，我可能我不会在这个世界，我不懂，可能我明天也不在，我也不懂。
OK，
那我很开心在这边学习认识他们哦，全部是我的心念。
OK， 很好。
Thank you
OK。 So, Ken Boon, I have a question.
Yeah, Bante.
Yeah.
My question is related to the food. Some monastics have one meal a day.
Okay.
Bante as well.
Okay.
Can you explain some of it?
Okay, so the precept or the rule is not to take meal after noontime. So the allowable timing is daybreak to noontime. So last time, the origin of the rule is last time, whenever the monks want to have their meal, including dinner, they need to go to the town, go to the village to go for alms round. Yeah, so if let's say they want to have breakfast, lunch, dinner, then they need to go 3 times. Go to the village and makan 3 times. So after some time, when I think more monks go to have the meal at night, probably last time they don't have street lamp, no street lamp. So when in the dark, imagine somebody standing outside your house, how would you feel? A lot of issues. Some people think it's ghost, some people think it's robber. So it creates a lot of social problem. So also can be dangerous. No street lamp. The monk, when they go alms round at night, then they fall into the langkao and stuff like that. So a lot of issues. So the Buddha stopped this nighttime meal. So basically he set the rule, no meal after noontime. So that's the reason. So in the Vinaya, there are instances of monks allowed to take porridge in the morning before the alms round. So that's why you have the idea of the breakfast and the lunch. So so one of the senior monk told me, how do you call it? So because the precept is you can take from daybreak to noon, you can take as many meals as you want within that period of time. So a person can, for example, Palelai temple have a very interesting timing. So like 6:35, there's a breakfast time because the abbot always eat at a time, so the resident monks will eat. So sometimes Palelai will invite certain guest speakers, so-called forest tradition guest speakers. Then they sort of request to take their meal like maybe 9 o'clock or sometimes 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. But the temple all the while don't have this timing. So the official temple, the lunchtime is like 10:45 or 11. So that is the timing. So in between there's another meal. So become their 3 meal timing. So the kitchen we have to prepare the meal 3 times. So some of the monks, they will join 3 times. They will join 3 times. They makan 3 times. They go alms round, they come back with the alms round food, they bring to the room and makan. Then the 11 o'clock lunchtime, they will come down and makan again. So they makan 3 times. So somehow they say there's no limit as long as within timing. So because of this issue, there's an extra, we call it Dutanga vow. We call it ascetic vow, called it 13 Dutanga vows, 13 Dutanga vows. So this vow, one of them is eat 1 meal a day. Eat 1 meal a day. So we call this moderate asceticism compared to other religions that really like don't eat and stuff like that. So Buddhist asceticism is considered very moderate. So this is 1 meal a day. So there are 13. So one of them is 1 meal a day. Okay. Right.
Each precept is 1 meal or 2 meal?
You can eat any time from daybreak to noontime. That's the official answer.
Oh,
you can have 3 meals. Also can.
precept 早上几点才可以吃啊？ 在家里的话，如果做的话，
一有阳光出现了啊，就
阳光出现是8点还是7点？
啊，你阿高呢？你看到有阳光出现就可以了。
就下雨。
啊，下雨等一下。你阿高呢？因为每天差不多那个时间你就知道了啊，你跟着你的时间哦。
Thank you 啊，因为我们是半夜，像马来人哦，他们早上不都4、5点起来吃东西，那个哈利拉亚的。
OK。
Daybreak you all can eat already, right?
Daybreak。啊，就是阳光出现的时候了，
So
看每个地方不一样了，Any other question?
Regarding the jhana levels, right? Actually, for lay person, what's the whole purpose of you achieving higher and higher and higher?
Okay.
So, in the end of the day, what's the ultimate reason?
Depends on the individual goal. So, of course, being a Buddhist, the ultimate goal is to reach this liberation, to get out of this we call it cycle of birth and death. That's the ultimate goal. So, jhanas is part of this right concentration in the Noble Eightfold Path. So, this stability of mind is very essential to help you in your investigation. If not, the mind, if you want to whole day just observe the arising and passing of these the 6 senses and stuff like that, sometimes can be very draining. That can be very draining, or sometimes can be very can be annoying or whatever, right? So this stability of mind, this concentration will help you sort of like buffer a bit, maybe like shock proof a bit.
Is it normal once you reach a certain level and your mind may feel tired?
Tired as in if a person investigate too much, then they might be draining. So you need to sort of investigate in a way that it gives detachment and peace. So there's a difference between intellectual thinking and this investigation of Dhamma. Intellectual thinking will be draining. Investigation of Dhamma should be giving more energy.
Thank you.
Okay. At the back.
我在今年的After Chinese New Year，我就发现到我自己有癌症，对吗？ Then 我的家里的人就 send 很多那个心经啊，叫我念那个经啊，就每天早上念这个。其实我对这个很不熟，所以他一直讲说，因为你念不够啊，什么什么，是对吗？要做这样吗？
谁叫你念？
我家里的人哦，我的姐妹啦，我姐姐就 send 我心经啊，send 我这个 send 这个，很多东西北传的东西，因为我是南传的，她是北传的，对，她一直叫我 follow 她的这个，叫我每天念这个，我不懂要怎么回答她，只是静而已啦。
OK 了对了你就谢谢咯，你就继续念你的你要念的经咯
我没有念经，可是我会听啦。因为那时候是我去 set 的时候我不会去听这个咯。after that 现在我就 OK 很开心了。要接受了你就很开心，偷偷是不可以接受啦。然后 after that 我觉得可能是我前世做的不好啦，还是今世做的不好，也是我的因果嘛，所以我就把它还给他们咯。当作还给他们咯，就接受。lucky 我知道这个病的时候，我已经开刀过后，电疗过后，我就可以来到这边。因为我觉得这是我第2个生命了。
OK。好。
因为如果我不知道的时候，可能是第4期了，对吗？现在我是第1期啦。对，我觉得 很好咯，我可能老不大保佑我了，就这样想。
Okay. Okay, any other question?
And people talk about Buddha protection, triple gem protection. Actually, do we actually receive this type of protection?
Yeah, so the protection is actually you yourself create the protection. Because when you create the good karma or you observe the precepts, then you are avoiding a lot of unnecessary, unwholesome repercussion. So that is the one kind of protection. Yeah.
Actually, magic, right? That you get the protection naturally.
If you want to talk about supernatural kind of protection, very minimal. There are such things. Depends again on your merit. Like we mentioned before, if a person practice this loving kindness meditation, the Buddha mentioned the metta is like a spear. Any malevolent unseen being who want to attack you is like trying to walk through a spear, so it's like a deterrent. So there are many things also, like your precepts you keep very well, your level of wisdom and so on. So all these add to the merit and add to your protection, this supernatural kind of protection.
You have to keep your precept 100% up.
Yeah, as long as our intention is wholesome, and we need to practice this precept, we call it holistically. It's not about just die everything, don't do everything. We need to train the mind. We call it upgrade the mental frequency. Yeah, that's the purpose of the precept.
Yeah, because we are common mortals, of course, sometimes we bound to make mistakes. Yeah. So that should not be affecting it too much, right? As long as we realize that it is a mistake, and we don't repeat it.
Yeah. There's always take it as a room for improvement.
Yeah. Thank you, Bante.
Okay, so that's why we chant this asking forgiveness every day. Yeah, we are not perfect. Yeah.
反正那个发愿，好像当我知道这个病的时候，我很想发愿，可是我怕的时候我做不到。就我怕我做不到，我跟自己讲一步一步来哦。这样发愿，你觉得这个发愿可以做成吗？我不懂，可以吗？发愿是什么意思呢？发愿，因为他们不当我们是要发一个愿，这样我们是要做一个东西，要发愿，我们要做这个。
看你发什么愿哦。你发那个愿，你要知道是什么愿呢？什么意思啊？或者有时候可能，如果你说的是北川的哦，他们是训练这个无量心了。通常如果是不是特别的仪式的话，如果是普通的每天那个诵经的那个过程他们的经典都是他们的发愿就是训练这种无量心扩大你的心了
南传的呢？
南传的就我们念这个咯，念这个持心咯持经。南传可能没有这么多这个发愿了。OK， 还有什么问题 ？Any question？Yeah, aspiration. Yeah, so we have like one portion. Yeah, but that is like very minimal. Yeah, very minimal compared to Mahayana chanting a lot. Yeah. Then if not, we let you do your own self practice until your nap time, huh? So I don't know what time you want to sleep. Okay, so leave y'all to your own practice lah.